soda. Remy boys that know fast money don't slow. No one can control. Yeah, and I got this soda.
Hey guys, it's Saturday's Fright. It's been a quick week, we will admit. It's been really hard for me this week, you know? Stuff has been, really going off edge since last week. Since last week, I've been kind of on edge from that phone call that I've gotten from Justin X, and it's really frustrating, and just people have been cops have been searching, Justin X, I feel like he's just getting close, really, really close, like I feel like this sucker could be just watching me at any time. Somebody help me, please. I wanted to turn. That was the that was my phone. Come on. I want to let go of this life of just other sin. Okay, I just want to let go of all the crimes that have been happening lately that we've committed, and it's time that we talk and just make sure we're all on the same page here. You guys been knowing what's been going on, right? So apparently I've been doing some research on YouTube, and apparently we're not the only ones that want to take out Justin X. Only one person would know what I mean by that. I mean, he watches my videos. I gotta take care of him too, Justin X and the Shadow Man, the Purple Shadow. You know what? I got a plan, but I'll tell you guys next week. I can't tell you this week. I'll tell you guys next week. Let's get into the videos, guys. The videos. The first one for this week is like a true Halloween horror story or whatever, and it's Trick or Treat Stories animated. And I'm ready to get into this. Let's get into this, guys. The first one. First one for this week. First one for the video.
It was Halloween night of 2007, freshman year in high school, and I was with my friends, Ivan, Ryan, and Jesse. We were all dressed as the Super Mario characters. I was Luigi since I was the second tallest. Ivan was Mario since he's short and buff. Not that Mario is buff. Jesse was Waluigi because he's freakishly tall and skinny. And Ryan was Wario because he's just really fat.
Oh
so
my
they
god.
were the perfect group costumes for us. We live in a very non-congested suburban neighborhood with a decent amount of space in between houses. On Halloween, that's the worst thing ever. Less bang for your buck. We were trick-or-treating for hours, way past dark, and eventually came the time when most trick-or-treaters were heading home. My feet started to hurt, and I had to constantly switch arms for holding the now 10-pound pillow sack of candy, but we planned on going until our bags were completely full. A lot of the houses by now weren't answering anymore. It was probably past their cutoff time for giving candy to trick-or-treaters. Approaching our next house, we saw a purple bucket on the stoop, which was the best feeling ever. I was the one to get close enough to realize it was empty, which was the worst feeling ever. I turned around when I heard a knock at the window of the house. We all looked at the window.
What?
Couldn't see anyone. But
What? Nah.
someone call out.
See, red flag off the bat, bruh. I ain't going to that house, bruh.
The door door opened and an older man, late 40s, already balding, stepped outside. He told us to come inside so he can get us some more candy.
No, you can bring it out here,
So
sir.
we could just wait out here.
You can bring it out here. Just bring it over here, sir. It's alright. It's alright.
Come on in, we'll get you your candy.
I don't... Just bring it
Ivan
over
stepped
here.
in and said,
Dude.
It's alright. Come on, Dan, let's go. I told the guy to take care and apologized. He just stood
Smart
there
move.
watching it,
Who is that?
not saying anything. I felt bad.
Cuz, what?
The guy seemed like a creeper, and I figured I just dodged a bullet not going in there.
You did. Because there's some back there with... Dude.
So
When they were leaving, it looked this sad, bro. Like, look...
we skipped a few of the guy's neighboring houses just to get further away and continued on with our business. We were walking down close to the nature preserve.
What is that?
So there weren't many houses around
Y'all
us.
see that? What?
At this point, we were now walking back closer to Jesse's house. I noticed Ryan had stopped walking, and I turned around to see what's up. He said he heard someone moving from behind the trees in the preserve. Now,
It's like
this
I
was
hear
before
it.
everyone's phones had flashlights, so we couldn't just go searching in the woods for someone. Besides, we were just telling Ryan that it must have been a raccoon or something. You may think this is a bit of a cliche, but when things like this happen in real life, you always assume the more logical possibility. It's just natural. Why would we assume we were being followed? I had to put my arm around
I mean,
Ryan's shoulder.
even if it happens, you just don't...
A little ways down the street.
Look, guys, always remember, even if you might think it's a raccoon, and like, that's just the usual, you know? If there's ghosts, stuff like that, you know, crazy stalker, people would just resort to the logical things in life. Because who would want to believe that? Because that would be too much for a human mind to even bear, like, for 5 minutes. Like, I think if I told, like a 7-year-old, I think his mind will literally explode.
He and Ivan picked up on the sound as well. When we all stopped, the sounds of the footsteps from beyond the trees stopped as well.
Bro, that owl looking
Ivan yelled
mighty
at the
sketchy
audience
right
to go
now.
away, or we would beat the shit out of them. I knew he was just bluffing, though. I could hear the nervousness in his voice. The
boy!
on the trees
Take
triggered
off!
a flight response in all of us. Me, Jesse, and Ryan all ran for it. Ivan was at first
What?
charging to attack, but he quickly followed after realizing we had all taken off. We ran down the dark street, and we all noticed the sounds of at least 2 or 3 pairs of footsteps crushing the twigs and leaves in the woods. We banked it hard right down
What?
Essex Street when it finally came up, and ran straight for his backyard, entering his house through the back door. The first thing we did was peek out through his living room window.
Bro, you don't ever go home when you're being followed. You head to, like,
We
a
all had to
police
gather our
station.
thoughts and discuss what
Look,
we
I don't
should
care
do.
if we made it home,
All of a
alright?
sudden,
I
we heard
don't
Jesse's
care.
backyard gate slam shut.
I called the cops
Jesse
on my
moved to turn off the
parents,
lights.
cause, like...
There was a click and a bang from down in the den. It was more than likely Jesse's back door. We all agreed to go down armed with knives and face them.
Bro, they need to...
Jesse turned on his
They need to
back
get
door.
armed right now,
There was
bro.
nobody out there.
And they are. They got knives. Let's go.
We all screamed like
He
animals.
dropped his knife.
Jesse's mom and sisters came rushing downstairs. They had just gotten home from their friend's little house party. We all rested assured.
Yo, why did the door open just now?
Jesse explained what happened, but made it seem a lot less dramatic. Me and Ivan went home after that and called it a night. At 12:30 a.m., I got a disturbing text message. It was from Jesse. It said, "It wasn't my mom." I texted back saying, "What?" He responded back quickly, saying, "It wasn't my mom in the backyard."
Yo.
My fingers slammed the buttons on my phone, responding back, "What do you mean?" There was a long pause before he finally told me that his mom and sisters said they never went in the backyard. I told him to immediately check the backyard from his upper deck. He had already done just that. He also told his mom everything, and she had already called the police. They didn't find anyone back there, but Jesse did mention the guy who invited us in while trick-or-treating. Nothing ever became of that, and nothing ever happened at Jesse's house again after that one Halloween night.
Happy Halloween. But it ain't Halloween. It's the 4th of July. Tomorrow morning, boy, but they get lit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We in there with the rap stuff. But, dude, that was creepy, bro. Guys, for not to be annoyingly going to video, I found a compilation of 14 horror stories, which is an hour long, but we're not going to be here for an hour long like that. So let's get into this. The mystery man is standing outside my house entering... What?
My name is Pascal. I'm 22 years old now, but this event happened 3 years ago when I was 19. It happened in the middle of the night when my parents were away for an important company meeting. The company was kind of far away from where we lived, so I stayed home by myself while they were gone. One time, while I was at home alone, I looked out the window, randomly, and froze. There was a tall man, almost dressed entirely in black. He was wearing a tuxedo and holding...
Bro, that just looked red or
This guy
brown.
was standing right outside of the door, looking at me. He wasn't laughing at all, and his head was twitching continuously.
Oh my...
Sir, please get off our property, otherwise I'll call the police. I opened the window and told him. Then the man replied, "Oh, you can do that if you want, as long as you don't look away." Because of this strange attitude, I felt anxious, so I grabbed my cell phone and called
He looked
the
away.
police. But when I looked out the window again, he was gone. At that very moment, I heard footsteps coming from downstairs.
Lock the door.
I suddenly remembered that I forgot to lock my garden.
You gotta be kidding me, bro! See, this is why my mom always said, lock the door, bruh. Come on.
Then I pulled myself together. I got my bat and looked down the stairs.
Yeah, he got that wally wop. He about to wally wop this boy, dude.
There he was. He was just staring at me. He didn't move, but said, "I told you not to look away."
Cops are here. I'm not gonna look away.
The man still did not move. But then he suddenly changed his mind and walked over.
Yeah, we out.
I tried to swing my bat towards him, but I was so scared.
Just hold it.
Couldn't do
Just hold
anything
it.
Except scream.
He come near you, you
Police
hit.
broke down the door. One policeman tried to arrest him, and the other one tried to take the knife away from him. But the man resisted. He was strong. Even though he was outnumbered, they couldn't stop him.
Dude.
They threatened to shoot him in the foot, but he didn't care. Furthermore, he attacked the two policemen.
Bruh, just shoot him.
I ran to one of the rooms and slammed the door shut, but he kicked in the door.
Where's your
The
bat?
door opened, I could see his face, and I will never, ever forget that moment. However, at that very moment, the police caught up to him and shot his foot. The guy started screaming in pain.
Dude.
Shortly after that, he managed to jump outside of a window and disappeared. The policemen chased after him, but unfortunately, they failed to arrest him.
Bro, y'all should have shot him in the leg.
Again. I'm glad that I survived that incident.
Bro, how you get shot in the foot and still on the run, bro?
From that day on, I always made sure I locked all the doors and windows.
I made the creepiest friend at the deep web. Why? Why would you do that, cuz? Why? Just why? Deep web. Bro, who's our character? Let me guess. Let me give it a fact. I knew it. Girls. Girls be doing that weird mess all the time on internets, bruh.
After doing so, it takes you to a page where you have to make a profile. I put the name Lisa on my profile. My real name is Susan. Once I made the profile, you are directed.
Since she told me her name, I'm guessing he's gonna say something like that.
Serious, smart, and smothering. We clicked smothering. I thought it was funny. After choosing, there was a
Yeah, people dying on live streams is funny. Yeah.
I clicked on a profile of a guy that had the name 5, like the number 5. I entered, and it didn't seem like someone who would be a smothering friend. When I was searching through his profile, I received a message from him asking if I were looking for a friend. I looked at Latrice, and she laughed, but also told me to respond yes.
Dude, these girls is so dead.
For maybe 30 minutes, and then Latrice had to go. I told him I'll be back on tomorrow, and he said okay. Maybe a week went by where I would talk to him every night.
Why do we have people that just go on the deep web like this? Like, You clearly asking to get shanked,
Fine until I
dude.
clicked on another profile and someone else messaged me. I started talking with this other person, but still was texting the guy 5, which I knew his real name now is William. The new guy.
What is he,
had the
William
name
Afton?
William on his
Like,
profile.
dude.
A day went by, and he seemed cool, but then William randomly asked me why I was talking with Bill. I didn't know what to say, so I never responded. He kept texting with angry messages, so I blocked him. I didn't receive any texts, only a single message on that site, and it said soon.
He coming to that house,
Latrice
bro.
came over to have a sleepover. We got
Nah, he coming to that house, cuz.
did our usual.
He about to raid that house with his friends.
I brought up that guy. Then I received a text message that said, "Why'd you block me?" from a random number. I replied with a question mark. Then it replied, "It's me, William." He texted me from another number after I blocked him. I told Latrice how creepy this guy is. Then Latrice stopped me from talking because she thought she heard something.
Oh,
Then I
I
heard a
knew it.
voice. "I'm not that creepy." We both responded by screaming and looking around. I saw someone coming from under my bed, so we ran.
Nah, kick his head.
Called the cops. They didn't get him because he left through my window, and nothing could be traced back to him. I'm starting to think that he was both of the people I was talking to. That definitely opened my eyes to the dangers of the internet. I would never visit the dark web again.
He got into his house and was watching her, bruh. Woman in the purple dress.
A few years ago, me and my family went on our yearly holiday to Madeira, which is the birthplace of my parents. It was pretty normal for us to go annually.
Bro, look at this
as our
corny.
grandparents were living there.
I mean, it's good, but like, it's so like weird to me.
And during the day, we would go to festivals.
Never mind, it's actually really great. I love that
This
dance.
story will probably give you a better idea. It's not that a physical thing occurred that holiday. It was just this nightmare that became very real for me as a child. As I said before, I was staying at my grandparents' house while in Madeira. I had a room to myself on the upper floor. It was pretty creepy.
Bro, look at them
since my
ugly looking dolls,
grandma
bro.
loved Victorian-style dolls. Once I was able to fall asleep, I had a creepy dream that I can't forget. I woke up, and from my bed, I could hear movement on the floor. I looked down to see that the floor was covered in black insects, just crawling around. I could not see the almond brown wood floorboards, and began to yell for help. Someone opened my door, and I saw my
Oh!
come in, but behind him was a woman in a hideous purple
Oh!
I never saw
I don't like that. No. No. No, boy. No. That is the most whitest. Oh my god.
even came close
That is
to
the
me.
most whitest smile I've ever seen. And it's so.
Tear out his heart. I remember screaming in the dream. And
That is the
telling
most
him that
disturbing
was,
thing.
Your parents aren't here.
Oh, look at her skull,
I
bro.
was so scared that I went into the next room.
Dude, y'all see that cheekbone?
But because it
Bro.
was dark, I couldn't see
Yeah,
it.
I mean, that
Well, I was a
freaking.
dumb kid.
Bro.
My anxiety.
You know, the
level
freaking
rose.
jawbone, bro? What
I
the
ran
freak?
out and
Bro.
downstairs, and none of my parents were around. I started to panic more because of what that lady in my dream said, and I started to cry even more. Then I heard my older brother call my name from up the stairs.
Cuz.
The stairs I just ran down. I told him I had a bad dream, and he stayed in my room after showing me that my little brother was snoring away in his bed. The next morning, my brother told my parents how I behaved, so my mother asked me what happened. I told her about the dream with the lady in the hideous purple dress. My mother's face became serious,
Yeah.
and she looked
She knows
worried.
something.
I didn't know why, since that was unusual for her.
Hmm.
About 2 years later, I was going through my parents' wedding album in our home in Madeira.
Bro,
While
see, they
I was
tweaking
sorting
with
out the
that.
top floor of the house with my younger brother, I noticed that one of the pictures was ripped in half. I thought it was unusual, so I began looking through to see where the other half
Is
was.
the lady in the
It
picture?
wasn't in the album. I brushed it off. About an hour later, I was going through one of the drawers in the living room cabinet. I saw this picture of a woman in a purple dress. She looked almost identical
Oh,
to
I
the
don't
woman
like
in
that.
my
It's
dream.
so
It
creepy.
was the same
That is the
dress.
most disturbing thing I've ever seen in a while, dude. Oh my gosh, that smile.
Teared up picture. I began to shiver once the tear
Yep.
of both pictures fit perfectly well together. With worry,
It's like even in the regular picture, she still look crazy, bro.
All I know to this day is that she is perceived as a witch and fled with my maternal uncle from Madeira. Soon after, the whole community began to believe it. This is possibly all just a coincidence,
Nah.
but it does send a shiver down my spine.
Nah, that gave me the
I've never met
biggest
this
shivers
woman,
just
but
now,
she
bro.
appeared in my dreams. I have no idea on whether or not I will forget the specific details of that dream, especially since I found out more about this woman, who is my aunt-in-law.
Pizza? Nah, I'm good. I was one of the most uncomfortablest freaking
I was 11
dude.
years old, and it was pretty early in the morning. I was in the
Bro,
backyard
I'm about to
playing
start getting
basketball with my
paranoid
younger
when it gets
brother before
nighttime,
I
bro.
headed
I
to
feel like,
school.
dude.
We had a basketball hoop in our backyard. Our backyard was located next to an alley, and our gate was pretty short, so anyone who walked through that alley could see right into our backyard. After playing for a bit, we noticed that two strange men in the alley were checking out our neighbor's backyard.
Them the goon
I didn't
kids,
feel
bro. Get
safe
them
around
out
them,
of here.
so I led my brother back into the house.
It's like it look like the
We were going
nasties,
to
bro.
ignore them, but
Dude.
after eyeing them a little longer,
From
my
Neverending
suspicion
Story
about them
3 with
turned
them.
out to be right. Watching them from the window, I saw one of them hop right over our tiny gate.
I'm so cool. I got my hands in my
Then we
pockets.
rushed to go tell our mom. My mom went straight outside to see two strangers
Bro, why
standing
he
in our
look
backyard.
like he just... Why his
She
eyes
yelled at them
red
angrily
like
and
that?
told them to go away. She called 911, but they ignored her and didn't leave. One of the men just stared at us. All of a sudden, he went into the shed we had in the backyard and pulled out a lawnmower that was inside. At first, we were all confused and we thought they might be trying to steal it. Then my sister started to record the incident, thinking it might scare them, make them run away, but it didn't work. My mom called 911, and the men weren't saying anything to us. But one of them seemed to have changed his mind and was trying to convince the other man that they should just leave.
Nah, it's too late for that. Y'all weirdos, bro.
Turned the lawnmower on. We were totally confused at that moment.
What?
A random stranger just comes into our backyard and completely ignores everything we say to him. Why would he go into our shed, pull out a lawnmower, and turn it on? I mean,
I don't even know.
sense. However, his next
He must be trying to be nice and mow your lawn like.
and was even more insane. He flipped the lawnmower upside down and just stood there looking at it. A few seconds later, our confusion soon turned to horror after watching what happened next.
What?
He dived headfirst into the spinning blade of the lawnmower, which cut his neck wide open and ended his life. All this happened in the blink.
I ain't never heard somebody just... Dude!
My mom screamed at the top of her lungs, which frightened the 911 operator. I couldn't believe what I just saw. I was only 11 years old at the time, but it must have been even harder for my younger siblings to watch that happen. A few minutes later, the ambulance and the cops arrived at the backyard. The police came by to ask a few questions, but the video my sister took had the whole incident on video, so the cops knew the story was legit. I couldn't help but feel bad for the other man that was with him. When the incident happened, he screamed too, started crying, and begged us to call for help. But it was already too late. I didn't go to school that day because I was in shock. After that, I couldn't sleep at all. I had nightmares for a while. I wished we never saw that, and wondered what happened to that man to make him want to end his life. I also couldn't
That
stop
sucker was
thinking
probably
about
just
our
sick in the
lawnmower.
head, dude.
It was old and worn out. You needed to pull the cord multiple times, and with some luck, it might turn on. But he pulled that thing once, and it started right up.
Wow.
Everything was odd that day.
This happened to me when I was 17 years old. I live in Canada, and this situation
Canada,
took
okay.
place during a snowstorm at around 9
Hey, anybody
p.m.
subscribe? Do you guys live in
It was
Canada?
extremely dark outside, and I was waiting inside a bus stop shelter after my part-time job to get home. Although I live in a crowded city in Toronto, it was very quiet.
New York. Anybody
and
from
there were
Canada? New
barely
York?
any cars on the
What?
road due to hazardous weather
Detroit,
conditions.
like anybody?
I
Like
was waiting all
the
by myself for about 10 minutes until one man who looked like he was in his 50s entered the shelter. He had a disgusting smirk on his face, which made him a bit creepy looking.
bro, his hair will
That
tweak it right
pretty huge
now.
guy started making small talk with me.
No, don't
He
respond.
had a creepy low voice, and he kept asking me what I was doing out in this weather and where I was going.
I don't think I want to tell
I
you
was
that.
feeling anxious. But
Girl,
there
if you
was
don't get up
nobody at
and
that
run like
point,
you running a
so I
marathon,
told
bro,
him I was going
dude.
home after work. He smiled and said to me that the buses are going to be delayed because of the weather and won't be coming in for a really long time.
Oh my god.
I took out my phone to check the bus times. However, due to the deadly cold weather, my phone died completely. Then
Wow.
he came closer to me. He smelled awfully disgusting.
If you don't get up and run.
Hey, you want to come with me for 5 minutes?
No.
He said.
No.
I said, I'm sorry, sir. What do you mean? He said, let's go hang out for a bit. Don't worry, you won't miss your bus.
No.
I will bring you back safely.
No.
Come on. I wasn't stupid and was aware of pedophiles.
Yeah.
So I stepped back and refused.
Smart
But
move.
he kept insisting that
If you don't take off and run or grab a taser out like you Rachel from Batman Begins, bro, come on. Run.
However, luckily, one lady came into the shelter.
Oh.
And the man immediately closed his mouth. After waiting for some time, the bus finally arrived. It was me, the lady, that creepy man, and 2 other people on the bus. He sat all the way at the back of the bus where he could watch me clearly, and I noticed that he kept staring and staring. I was so nervous, and when it was my stop, I got off along with the lady. And as I kept walking, I saw that the man got off with us and was right behind me.
Bruh.
I freaked out and thought there was no choice at all. So I grabbed the lady's arm and asked her if she could walk me home because a man was following me. She also noticed that the guy was acting strangely, so she whispered that she would take me home. I walked with the lady, and when I looked back, he stared at me for a while. And
Dude, that dude a creeper.
home, my parents and I thanked that lady repeatedly. And after that, I never saw him again in my life.
Maybe he might come back. The secret basement in the hospital. This might actually be the last one for today, guys.
I can't reveal exactly where because of privacy reasons. Recently, a fairly popular celebrity came to be treated here, although I can't reveal who due to the aforementioned privacy reasons. Honestly, I was pretty surprised he was coming here. Not to shit talk my place of employment, but this place has a bit of a record of being really bad in caring for people. Not that I'm a bad nurse or anything, it's just that a lot of the surgeons seem to do their job and not get fired for some reason. This made it all the more confusing to me that this celebrity came here for surgery to remove a late-stage brain tumour. Speaking of, my friend Patricia was a huge fan and really wanted to be the one assigned to him post-surgery. She was even thinking of asking him for an autograph, which seemed unprofessional to me. Anyway, he was
Bruh.
flying in for treatment tomorrow, but my current job was to assist a surgeon with the surgery of a little boy who swallowed a bunch of his toy marbles. I was surprised they decided to opt for surgery though, because they were previously recommended to wait for him to pass them. It was me, the anesthesiologist, and the surgeon in the room. I was staying nearby to the site of the surgery, and everything seemed to be going well. Then, the surgeon slipped and cut the kid's stomach lining open. It was horrific. The smell of stomach acid almost made me vomit as it began to dissolve his intestines. Despite our best efforts, he was dead within 10 minutes. What disturbed me was how unfazed the surgeon was. After we failed to save him, the surgeon left to break the news to the parents almost immediately after. I thought I heard the anesthesiologist mumble something under her breath, but I couldn't understand clearly. It was something about food. My shift was over though, and I walked to the subway to grab some dinner, then caught the bus home. I was pretty tired, so I watched some Netflix in bed until I fell asleep. That night I had a dream, or more accurately, a nightmare. I was in the hospital, and that kid was there in front of me. Only his whole body was hollow and his chest cavity was open and bloody. His eyes were gone too, but still, he stared at me, and the entire time he pointed straight down. I finally woke up, and with relief from being free of that dream and more guilt from the failed surgery, I started my day. I got to work and Patricia was fairly bubbly. She spent almost the whole morning talking my ear off about the celebrity. When he finally came in, she started freaking out and tried to walk up and talk to him. His bodyguards pushed her away though, and she returned to her duties dejectedly. Just before my lunch break, I was called into my supervisor's office. He said he had something very important for me to do, and that it needed to be done ASAP. He told me to go to the transplant center and get 10 hearts, then go to the basement. I was pretty confused and wanted to ask some questions, but he cut me off and yelled, "Either you can do this shit right now, or you can walk out and kiss your job goodbye." I was pretty pissed.
Duh.
But the management would avoid firing the incompetent surgeons even though they should. I left in a huff to go collect the organs and found them waiting in a case there already with a note signed by the doctor that gave me access to a restricted room in the basement simply called room 60. I didn't have the slightest clue what was in there and marched onwards to the elevator and went down to the basement. I walked to room 60 and showed the security guard my note. He looked me over and said, "Oh, this is your first time doing this, huh? I feel sorry for you. Try not to panic if you know what's good for you."
No. Dude, this gotta be funny, bro.
Pennies and a corpse. The ground was slick with something and it was dark in there too, with only one dim overhead light.
Nah.
The room was pretty big, and in the middle I saw some nondescript blob. Then I heard what sounded like a deep breath in, and the blob started moving. The thing, which I now started to realise was a body, was walking towards me with stumpy, fat legs. I screamed and tried to run away, but I slipped on the ground. As my face got smeared in it, I realised the stuff on the floor was blood, and as I turned onto my back, I was face to face with the thing. It looked like a very pale, morbidly obese man, although it was much taller and much fatter than any human could be. It had large, curled
Bro, why does this sound like Baz, bro?
horns, as well as no mouth. Instead, where its mouth should be, there was just a row of pitch black, pointy, needle-like teeth.
It's like, I think it is, bro.
It paid me no heed and reached out to pick up the box of organs. It opened the box and ate all the hearts in handfuls, stuffing 3 at a time in its mouth. I was terrified and ran out the door, slamming it shut behind me. The security guard looked me in the eyes and put a reaffirming hand on my shoulder. It looked like he wanted to say something but couldn't. He told me that he would walk me out of the building and that I could have the rest of the day off. Now I'm at home, still shaking and typing this up. I got a text from Patricia, and apparently the celebrity's surgery was a massive success. I'm wondering what I even do now. Is this the type of thing I can report? Would anyone believe me?
Just quit. Just quit. Like, alright, guys, that is the last one, right? Well, guys, that's the end of the Saturday's Fright. As I was saying, I got a plan for next week. I mean, maybe it could work, maybe it might not work, but I just hope it does. It's been just a lot of crazy stuff going on here lately, and I don't know what to do. But for now, I'll see you guys next week. Next Saturday's Fright. Hope you're having a wonderful